what brings people to thriving foundation? What do you mean by thriving in this context?
Thriving is a process where we all strive towards the life we want, including physical health, mental health, emotional health, and also spiritual health and financial health. So we all have life goals, right? The dream life. And in my experience, Qigong does not just help us with vibrant health. It helps us with every aspect, with every area of life, including financial abundance. Luckily, I also have a solid financial background where I can really test whether the practices really work, and they do. And it's kind of a shortcut. We all probably have heard of the 80-20 rules, right? So
The Pareto principle.
yeah, it's a principle. It's also a trap. Some people call it 80-20 rule. Other people call it 80-20 trap, because most people are not aware that the external efforts they are making are like 80% of the efforts produce 20% of the results, or vice versa. 20% of the efforts produce 80% of the results. But most people don't know what that 20% is to focus on. And in my experience of practicing Qigong, becoming aligned with divine Qi, divine energy, you get into the flow so much, so much more easily, and with seemingly effortless. You just receive the results, sometimes without even trying. Sometimes you don't even know that's what you wanted, and turn out to be, oh, that's actually what I wanted, without knowing. And so I can fulfill, my life and help more people. It's pretty
Wonderful.
amazing. It's a discovery process, right? So when I was taught Qigong, it was mainly focused on healing. Like in my mother's experience, she almost died of cancer, and then Qigong literally saved her life, turned around, turned the death sentence around. The doctors told her she was supposed to die. There was nothing else they could do, and saved her life. So when I was younger, all I knew, and all most people knew, was Qigong can help you heal, right? Then from my left brain work as a CPA and a financial advisor, I noticed that Qi, proper management of the Qi, proper utilization of the Qi, and more importantly, proper alignment with divine Qi can really help us do so much more in life without working so hard, without the blood, sweat, the typical way, tears. Yeah, tears.
Right. That's wonderful. That's basically what I call being in the flow. Some athletes refer to this as being in the zone, which can be experienced in the context of athletics or different sports. But it also can be applied to virtually anything we do in our lives. So when you are working, you can enjoy being in the flow and actually accomplish more. You have better productivity. You can become more creative. If you're an artist, well, wouldn't you want to be more creative as an artist or as a musician? Many of my students are musicians. Well, do you want to be more creative as a musician, or to have more expressiveness and greater authenticity? Now, that's something that not many people equate to Qigong practice. Not many people even think that Qigong is going to help them with that, but it totally can.
Yes.
I love the key in our lives. And I find that if you wake up each morning and center on that key, that breath in and that breath out, your day starts out in a positive way. So that's why I try to do all these different seminars to maintain that focus. So that's not a question. That is why I'm here with you now and listening to what others have to contribute to our well-being.
Wonderful, Brenda. That's definitely an important thing, to breathe in and to breathe out. It's going to happen spontaneously even if you don't try. As a matter of fact, when you try, often you will mess it up because it will no longer be natural and spontaneous breathing. You'll be trying to breathe according to your idea how you should be breathing. And that, by definition, is not going to be natural breathing. But what can be healthier than natural breathing? Any breathing techniques that are not natural are not going to be as healthy and beneficial as natural breath. So I always suggest to use breathing not as a technique, but as a gauge to see how well you are in the flow, because breathing will reveal how well you are in the flow if you don't mess with it. If you start messing with the gauge will start giving you faulty results, and that will actually make it more difficult to use it as a biofeedback mechanism. Does it make sense?
Yes, it does make sense.
Great, great. Well, so
what is meditation then? What is meditation? That's what I mean by waking up, taking in that breath in, and a meditation moment.
Yes. So meditation can very well be facilitated by breathing. Obviously, you can enter a meditative state by focusing on that which you resonate with a lot better than by focusing on that which you don't resonate with. So breathing will reveal that you're focusing on something that you are in resonance with by perhaps becoming deeper and smoother. Maybe you'll have a sigh of relief. Maybe you will start yawning. Those are natural meditative breathing experiences that happen spontaneously when we don't mess with that biofeedback mechanism. But maybe I can also direct this question to Cathy. Cathy, could you tell us a bit about your meditation practice? Maybe this will also let us see how we can integrate it into our daily lives too.
Thank you. That's exactly what my question would be. How do we integrate this in the life? Thank you so much for zoning in on that, Lama. God bless you.
Absolutely. That's what I'm here for. Please, Cathy.
Yes, wonderful. I typically do moving meditation rather than just sitting. And there are 4 things I do to enhance my moving meditation. My moving meditation is like the first part is getting prepared for the Qigong practice I'm about to do. So the preparation itself is a meditation. So does anyone speak English in your audience? So if
most of us speak English just fine.
English, Chinese, I mean. Chinese. Does anybody understand Chinese? Okay, I will just explain. Chinese, just like one word can mean so many things, and one person will just, totally get it from one word. But so what I do is first, I connect with the divine qi. So it's not just me in the middle of the room or in the backyard. I'm connecting with the divine qi. How do I do that? First, I think of just 2 or 3 things I'm very grateful for. So the energy of appreciation and gratitude is in alignment with the divine energy. And of course, the loving energy. If you don't know how that feels, most people do. But if you are someone who's like, I don't know what that feels like, just think of something. Just think of a child that you love and you're grateful for. Think of someone who did something to help you that day or the day before. Just very quickly, you your qi is in the qi of gratitude and appreciation. Then you imagine the qi moving counterclockwise on your left foot. So it moves this way. And then on the top of your head, moving this way too. So in Chinese, that's called zheng. That means you are in the righteous qi, in the clean qi, in the divine qi. So second, you imagine your body being huge, like really big. It can be like you're, supporting the sky, and you're in between the earth and the sky, like this gigantic being. And gradually you will see yourself just melting into the vast universe. You are becoming one with the universe. That's called Da, means, greatness. So you are no longer just, this human body, right? And that's, what we each and every one of us, we are, because we are really one, as an individual expression of, Cathy, as opposed to, Penny or Lama, and then you imagine the light of different colors, primarily like a bright light from the sun, going through each cell of your body. It's a magnificent feeling because it cleanses your cells first, and then the light nourishes your cells, the whole body. And then you imagine yourself becoming light. And sometimes, if it's too much, you can imagine yourself being a lotus flower, just like a very pure, very light, very clean, coming out of mud. The lotus flower coming out of mud, until you can comfortably feel you are light, which we all are, of different colors, so that's my sort of a meditation. It's beyond meditation. In Chinese, it's called Zheng Da Guang Ming. Just 4 words. It's very easy to remember. You get it immediately. Most people think that's a way of living. Meaning you live in integrity. You live in light. You have nothing to hide. You always do the right thing. But in spiritual practice and in the journey of journey towards enlightenment, let's just say, it has specific meanings, what you do. And then you start doing a Qigong or Tai Chi or yoga or whatever is your thing, your cup of tea that you love to do. You start doing that, and that really enhanced the result significantly compared to just do it straight, from your from your normal state of being.
So in a sense, what you do is you enter what we call Qigong state.
Yes.
First, before you start doing Qigong practices.
Right.
Generally speaking, the definition of Qigong state is the state of being able to feel the flow of Qi and learn how to be in the flow. Doing Qigong practices at the time when you're not in the Qigong state of mind is more like doing calisthenics. Well, it's still better than sitting on exercise. It's better than sitting on the couch, being a couch potato, but it's certainly much more effective and much more beneficial to actually have the Qigong state tuned into before doing the Qigong practices.
Right. And nice. That, a lot of people are, it's a process. Doing Qigong and doing any spiritual practice, we know it's a process, right? But this way, you kind of speed up your process. You get aligned with the divine energy. What can be better, right? Like much quicker. And that's when miracles happen. for your health and for your abundance. Like things you don't really need to write down. Like, a lot of people say, this is my annual goals, this is my 5-year goals. You don't really need to, because the divine knows what's the best for you. And it just happens without you trying so hard, or even sometimes knowing. So it's a different level of spirituality.
Yes, connecting.
Let the divine do the job for you.
Yeah, we connect with that which we need rather than looking for that which we want.
Right.
Because sometimes what we want, we need to be careful, because
That's right.
we may actually get it.
That's right.
And we still may not have our needs met.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So how does this translate into daily life? Brenda was asking initially about integration with daily life. So how does this practice integrate with daily life for you?
You start your day the best way. It doesn't matter it's raining or shining, or it doesn't matter what other people's mood. That's the thing, if you don't do this kind of practices, oftentimes you feel it's the other person who doesn't do anything and gets in my way or pick up a fight with me. But when your own qi is in pure love, in kindness, in gratitude, you can easily transform the other person's qi without being manipulative, because you don't need to do some secret practice to alter another human being without their agreement, right? But by being the best you can be, the other person automatically become better. So whether it's a business relationship, suppose you are a business person and you have a unhappy customer who's just complaining and blaming, and when you think you did nothing wrong, you did the best you can, right? You change your qi, you change, just quickly think of something you're grateful for, and you put on a smile, right? So not a forced fake smile, but a real one from your heart, because you are love. You feel compassionate towards the person who's complaining and not, unhappy and blaming you for something you didn't do. You feel, oh my God, this person needs more love and needs more kindness, and I'm the person who can give it to him or her. That quickly changes the relationship. And oftentimes people just start to apologize when you haven't even, expressed any feeling of discontent, like, why are you yelling at me, right? All of a sudden the person automatically realizes that they were not at their best behavior, and they become happier. I often have clients who said, did you put something in my tea because I was stressed out, I was really unhappy, why do I have to come meet with a financial advisor when my stupid spouse set up an appointment for me? Use the word stupid a lot, which is another thing that we need to realize the power in words, right? Even if we don't say it, we think, use the word stupid to describe another human being or sometimes ourselves, right? It's really bad qi, I have doctors as clients, and they often call themselves stupid. I said, I don't mean to preach you or anything. I'm listening to your concerns and your goals. What do you want to accomplish? However, please stop using the word stupid to describe yourself, because they will say, I'm really stupid with money, right? I'm really dumb with money. I'm, this and that. I says, let's be neutral at least. If you can say I'm smart with money because you think it's a lie, right? Because I'm not. But at least be neutral and just look at things as they are, and we'll work on getting things getting them better and make them better. And that's like the subtleness of the beginning of how you transform your daily life, just little by little. Your family members, the same thing. We often think it's the spouse or children. They are the one who has problem. I have to, teach them to do what we do. It's not necessary, really. You can, just do what you do, the spiritual practices, the Qigong, and watch them transform.
Mm-hmm. Well, this is a great example of how the Qigong practice can have an impact on daily life and may even have some effect on financial life.
Yeah.
Well, since you are dealing with that on a regular basis in the line of work, Cathy, maybe you would share with us a bit more about how exactly the financial life or abundance can be influenced by Qigong practices.
Oh, yeah, in a big way, in a big way. I learned that in the past 20-some years, I used to separate the two completely, thinking, this is one thing, it's a very intellectual thing. What we do with our stocks, with our insurances, with our taxes. And then we do Qigong because it's just a daily exercise or something to make us healthy, And then I met this woman who was a very renowned business consultant. And she said, you can do both. It's very confusing because the one is a left brain, one is a right brain work. And if people ask you, what do? You can't say I do this and I do this. It's very confusing. You have to pick one and do the other one secretly. I said, well, but I love both. And I think, they both help people in a very significant way, and I happen to be good at both. It's not like I dislike one work and have to choose the other one, right? So that was when was that? Right after I became a Qigong master. During a deep meditation, I was told that your job is to bridge the two, because money is a powerful energy. If anything needs a powerful positive qi to enhance it, money is definitely one of them, right? So Qigong is not just for health. So you need to, because you are familiar with both, you can bridge the two rather than making them separate. So ever since then, I have been divinely guided to teach directly how to guide your qi to enhance your finances, and has been working like a lot of people describe it as a miraculous. I mean, instantly after a workshop, people would receive this phone calls from new clients that they didn't even know. It's not like they were work in process. They were brand new people who just started calling that day and became clients, often in the amount of like $30,000, that kind of volume for like consultants kind of job, not like selling products.
Sure.
So when I choose to work with clients, I often kind of subconsciously watch if they are inclined to learn, not to make them my students per se in the Qigong, in the Thriving Foundation, but to see how open they are, how ready they are for subtle switches in their thinking, in their mentality. And without telling them the name of the practice per se, gradually, it's kind of like coaching almost. It's kind of like coaching, but in a different way. So their thinking has to change, right? In order for the money to flow freely. I mean, oftentimes actually, people's energy make their own finances worse. And they think it's because of the stress with the finance that made them stuck. It goes both ways, of course, right? So the more stuck you are energetically, the more stuck your financial situation is.
Yeah.
So when clients focus on the right thing, I said, I'm being selfish. I'm trying to make my job easier so I can help you achieve your goals and your dreams much faster. than I would typically do as a good financial advisor, as a good CPA. So you, by changing your energy and your mentality, your typical way of thinking about your finances, you're actually helping us to achieve the goals together. And whenever they say, oh my God, you're a genius, I'm so thankful, because when other people are losing money like crazy, I'm actually making more money. What is going on? I said, well, you play a part. Don't just give credit to me, give credit to yourself and to the divine. I'm just facilitating, I'm just sharing what I know with you. So you have been doing a great job too. Don't, just give yourself a pat on the shoulder, because the result is not just my work.
Well, yes, and I would imagine that you don't make decisions for your clients. You can consult them, but ultimately that's their prerogative to decide what to do with their money, or what to do with their taxes, or what to do with their finances in general.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
Well, and when they make the decisions, they can only make decisions using the energy that they have access to.
Absolutely.
So the question is, what kind of energy would you need to resource in order to make the most intelligent decisions?
The most powerful energy is love. So when we work out, a lot of people assume finances is just left brain number game. It's not. If you do it out of love, because we don't do financial planning just so our numbers will look better, right? We have more numbers. We do it because we love someone. Start with that someone, whether it's your spouse, your children, your parents, your friends that you're helping. Start with love. I can give you an example. A client came in, she had a pretty large sum of money to invest. But I started with her pain, because she had this painful story with her sister who borrowed her money, borrowed $300,000 from her like 10 years ago and never repaid her, because the sister did something and her dad didn't like her sister and disinherited her. So my client felt a little unfair, so she loaned her the money. But her sister probably thought, I'm entitled to it anyway. Dad was crazy, and I deserve it anyway. So that was why she never paid her back. But every time she think about it, she couldn't sleep, because in her mind, it's my money. I loan it to you. I didn't give it to you, right? So she had a lot of health issues. But that's how I discovered about this, because she had high blood pressure, insomnia, and overweight, a lot of health issues. And I said, let's trace it back to the time when you decided to loan the money to your sister. She said, wow, she needed it, and I feel bad. I said, no, you love her. Why would you loan money to someone if you don't love that person? She said, oh yeah, it's true. I kind of don't even remember how I feel about her. I did love her all the way through that time until the recent years, right? I said, you did something out of love. Just focus on the love, the beauty of that feeling. And don't worry about whether she pays you back. I said, look, you have so much money. Why are you so bothered by the loan? It's just wrong. It's just not right. A loan is not a gift. I said, okay, let the divine help you with that. If the divine decides, you should forget about the loan, maybe it's better for you. So at least you get a better sleep. And she just looked at me like, that is odd. The oddest financial advice I have received, because other financial advisors just ask me to, put this money to this and sell you that, and you just so they can make their money and be done with it. Why you digging so deep and make me cry? I said, I didn't make you cry. I just wanted to help you holistically, right? So she didn't get it right away, but we set up another appointment. I said, next time I will tell you how to invest the money. So 2 weeks later at her appointment, she came like a different person. She was crying out of joy. And she said, you have no idea what happened. I said, I can guess. I have some idea, but I want you to tell me. And she said, out of the blue, I did what you told me to do. Every night when I couldn't sleep, I just as the nights before, I thought of how much I love my sister. I thought of all the beautiful moments, when we were growing up, that we spend time together, how we love each other. And I did loan her the money because of love, nothing else. And I really didn't care at the time whether she would repay me. And guess what? Not only I slept like a baby now for 2 weeks, and my sister, by the end of the first week, she called her out of the blue and apologized to her for the long delay, in repaying her the money. And she said, I have a payment plan, and I'm going to pay it off within a year. She goes, what did you do? Did you make her? Did you? I said, know her. I did send some loving energy to her. But it's you. It's primarily you who did it. So that that's an example of how your energy can really work to help you with that. Because on the external things, what can you do? You can call her, remind her, and normally you have a bad qi with you because you're mad. Even if you try to be polite, you try to suppress your anger, right? It's still in your qi, in your energy, and it's not going to go anywhere, right?
Exactly. Yeah. And when we have angry energy, we make angry decisions. When we have loving energy, we make loving decisions.
Right.
When we have scared energy, we make fearful decisions, right?
Right. Yeah.
So all of this becomes a matter of finding what state do I need to be in order to make the most appropriate decision.
Right. And if you wonder, like, what if I can help? Like, I'm still angry, right? So that's an easy one. You work on your liver with your qi. Right? I have a different Qigong for different organs, thriving Qigong for the liver and gallbladder system. So when you have anger, you work on the liver and gallbladder system, and the anger just dissipates. So it's not like talking yourself out of anger, as what psychiatrists or psychologists would do, right? Talk yourself out of anger, talk yourself out of depression, talk out of all kinds of negative emotions. It's very difficult. I'm not saying it's not working, but it's hard. But when you are angry, your liver and gallbladder become more unhealthy. Conversely, when you have an unhealthy or polluted or weak liver and gallbladder system, you are more angry, right? You're angrier. So hard, what if I can't love people? I have met people who declare they couldn't love people, and they reject other people's love. That's even more serious, right? They can't handle love. They go, stop it, right? So their heart is frozen, right? So what do? You can't just tell people, just love. I mean, don't you get it? They don't, for whatever reasons. Maybe it was a trauma, like from childhood, or, some kind of abuse, sexual abuse, physical abuse, verbal abuse. Most people have experienced some sort of form of abuse from someone when we were vulnerable and couldn't defend ourselves, and which are left scars. in our organs, right? Not necessarily in the physical body, but in the organs. So by doing the Qigong for the heart and small intestine system, your heart just naturally melts and resumes the normal function, which includes ability to love and receive love.
Absolutely. It opens up, right?
Opens up, yes. I speak of that, we as business people, we do planning. Like if you don't plan for your year, you are not a successful business person, whatever you do, right? And some people just found themselves very hard. It's very challenging for them to plan. And that also has something to do with the liver. So it's called strategic planning. So once your liver is healthy, you can plan happily, and you can sit down quietly, think of your goals, and think of the procedure and the steps to achieve it. So much easier when you're healthy, But knowing where it comes from helps a lot.
And also, maybe it's fair to say that most people know much better what it is that they don't want to experience in the future as compared to what they would like to experience. So it's hard for them to plan, because whenever they think of what's going to happen in the future, they just create a nightmare of a daydream of sorts, some kind of unpleasant vision of what's going to happen. Well, that makes it difficult to plan. Or maybe they are confused about their values, and so they cannot actually figure out what's more important. And so they cannot prioritize. That's one of the reasons why I find people also procrastinate.
Yes.
Even if they do have plans, they will be putting it off as much as they can.
Right. Yes. But, once you are at a very advanced level as a practitioner, you might not even need to plan anymore. So that's totally different from procrastinating, and where you can make yourself focus on the work you need to do, right? But once you're at an advanced level, you are guided by the divine to do the right thing. You don't really need to visualize and doing the affirmation anymore. But depending on where you are, you do the appropriate things that fit your stage, and gradually you go up and becomes easy and effortless. But if you are a beginner, it helps to make sure your liver is working at its optimal level, right? So you can at least have a life without anger all the time, right? and you can strategically plan for your life. And even if it's a day by day, if a year or long term is overwhelming, just plan for the day to make sure all the important 3 things you need to do today get done, instead of feeling frustrated by the end of the day, say, oh my gosh, I don't know what I did today, especially with the distractions nowadays. You can easily, click on your phone all day without doing anything. It's so easy, right? Free movies on YouTube, free this, free that, you pick and before you know it, you got nothing done.
Yes, and then there's Facebook.
No. Instagram, there are so many interesting things. They are interesting. I mean, people's posting are becoming higher quality now. And I mean, it's just amazing how your time is just gone. I mean, utilize them that serve you for your journey, but don't be distracted by the things that really, you think back, it's like, I don't even remember anything, right? It's right. Just for like some silly things for the moment, that's it. Your day's over, and you get frustrated.
The day is over, and then the week is over, and then the month is over, and then the year is over. And then your life is over.
Life is over.
You're like, what happened?
Yes.
I see Brenda has something else to say. Please, Brenda, feel free to unmute your mic. Do you have another question?
Yes, I do. I have a question in multitasking versus putting your energy to the right use. This distraction, I guess, the difference between multitasking and having distractions enter your moving through the day. You understand what I'm asking?
I do. But Lama, you want to speak on that first?
I would say the same thing that I just mentioned, that it's confusion about values, being unable to prioritize, being distracted by things that are of less importance.
I see.
It usually happens when we are not clear about our values. So we cannot really tell what we need to focus on, what is it that we need to do, what do we need to invest our time and energy and money into. Basically, that kind of confusion bogs down probably 99% of human population of planet Earth. So there's nothing new about it. We just need to figure out how we can be at the 1% of those who are on top of the game and provide the role models to others, because we cannot teach others to do something that we don't do. That will become immediately obvious and hypocritical. And we cannot give that which we don't have. So we need to have that clarity ourselves. Right, Cathy?
Yes, absolutely. I totally agree with what you said, Amma. I do want to add, focus on the most important task is crucial, the focus. However, it doesn't mean you have to work in like a totally quiet environment. That may work for some people, may not work for others. For example, I found myself most productive when I have my favorite music on, even with the lyrics. It makes me very happy. And I could, sometimes when I'm super busy, work long hours without getting tired and being super productive. And my assistant said, I can't believe you barely slept last night. You still catch all my mistakes. It's like your mind is laser, focused, but the background music does wonders to your brain. But it has to be the right kind of music. Most music has the frequency that's actually not good for us. I don't want to name, the rock and roll, for example. It's not something you want to work with. It's actually been tested to be even promoting bad health. But, like 432 is wonderful for healing, for your body to be at, the best. And, and there are other different, like when you have pain, you have 174 hertz, now I no longer, most of the time, I no longer have like lyrics on. I just turn on the music of the right hertz when I do certain type of work. It really, I don't have the number to quantify it. It really enhances how my brain's functionality, and I'm more focused rather than less focused. I have a client whose daughter was going to UC Berkeley, and when she goes home, UC Berkeley for us is local, right? So her daughter would be doing her homework, her stuff, and have the music on, and her dad would always turn off the music immediately without even asking her, and she gets really mad at him. And I said, that's how your brain works. It's not how her brain works. Please stop doing that. It's disrespectful, number one, without asking a child for for permission to turn off her music. But he thinks he's teaching her what's the right thing to do. Focus on one thing. Don't have the music on. But it's apparently not how her brain functions. Just so that one thing is okay. So it's not like you focus on one thing, you fall asleep because you're bored, or the brain doesn't have the nourishment. Music can do wonders, the right kind of music.
Yes, music is definitely a wonderful art, and also other aspects of environment in terms of space around you, in terms of temperature, in terms of the smell and air. For example, some smells can trigger specific states of consciousness or certain memories.
Yes.
And even how full your stomach is. So, for example, if you are really hungry, you're probably going to have harder time concentrating. If you are full, probably you'll be falling asleep. So, finding balance points between the things that are either too overwhelming and distracting or putting it to sleep, basically you're underwhelmed. So finding that balance point where you are kind of on the edge of your comfort zone, but you're not too uncomfortable. That's where we find flow the easiest, where your capabilities match the level of challenges. If the challenges are too greater than your capabilities, then you feel overwhelmed. Basically, you're outside of your comfort zone. If your capabilities are much greater than your challenges, you're likely to be underwhelmed because you're bored. Like there's nothing challenging happening. So finding the balance point is actually really important.
That's actually one of the criteria, if you have to say a criteria, to be in the flow. The project you work on has some challenge that stimulates your brain, right? But reachable. If we are told to become Elon Musk, you go forget it. I can't do it, right? So, but it's within your reach, but you have to, stretch a little bit to reach that. And that's like during the day, whenever you get tired, what do? When you take a break from work or from, even if you are retired, you may get tired from doing whatever at home. You do a short version of Qigong. That brings you back, brings your energy back, release the negative energy, recharge, rejuvenate your body and mind with positive energy, with a loving thought. Just like a few minutes. It doesn't have to be a daunting 30 minutes or, the 30 minutes thing is so challenging. Sometimes my students would kind of sheepishly tell me, I'm so sorry, Master Mu. I had visitors at home. I didn't do my daily practice. I said, well, you can just take a break at the patio, a backyard for 2 minutes, do something. Even when you are entertaining people, you need to be at your best instead of feeling tired, that like I have to be here to be polite, but I really don't want to because I'm exhausted. I have other things in my mind. You're not even present, right? So you can say, give me a minute, and you might, even when you go to the bathroom, you can do something quickly to resume your best energy,
Bathroom Qigong.
Bathroom Qigong. Yeah, I never taught that. Actually, there is a way to use the bathroom to go number one, number two in the best way. Since we talk about it, I really wanted to share this with you, with the people in public, but I just feel a little too much, like a bathroom. Yeah. But a lot of people are not going to the bathroom the right way because of the distraction. I often, in the public bathroom, I often hear the next door all of a sudden start talking to some caller or laughing at something there. I go, that's kind of, not very polite, but also not very clean. You're holding your phone, when you're using the bathroom. But more importantly, you're not eliminating properly. So in Chinese, according to Chinese medicine, the right way to go, even number one. But anyhow, you go pee, and if you have a phone in your hand, or even if you put it down and listen to something, it's not the best way. So it's called close everything. So your entire body, your entire mind and energy is focused on this one thing, which is urination, right? So you literally close your eyes. You no longer watch anything, not even the picture on the wall, You close your mouth, right? You're not talking, right? Even if someone in your family is calling your name, you refuse to talk to them until you're finished. You see, and your teeth are together. You're not with your mouth open, teeth closed, eyes shut. You can shut your nose, but you can refuse to hear things. This is the thing about the ear. You can shut it, right? You can close it, and all you do is focus on your urinating. And going to number 2, same thing. I know 90% of people are watching something, reading something. It's a very bad habit, and they wound up sitting on the saw for a long time, much longer, and no wonder they have a constipation, because you're not giving your body, your large intestine, the proper attention. The energy doesn't go. Sometimes we feel like I need to go, then after sitting down, start watching something, it's gone. You don't have that sensation, right? You go, where did it go? It gave up. It's like, okay, you're not paying attention to me. I'm not doing my job. I'm just going to stay here, stay in your body and polluting your bloodstream.
Well, that basically restricts the flow of things in bowels.
Yes.
So I think being in the flow includes the bowel movement, just like anything else.
Right.
So we're learning how to essentially develop ability to be natural. Like you don't need to convince any of the animals or birds or other natural creatures to go to the bathroom. They just do it whenever they choose to.
Yeah.
They don't get distracted.
They're not overwhelmed by all this.
They don't have to watch movies or cartoons on their phones.
Yeah.
I see that Deborah was raising her hand. Do you have a question, Deborah?
Can you hear me okay?
Yes, loud and clear.
So, Cathy, thank you very much. And you've been speaking a lot about love, and possibly that will be the answer to this question. But in everyday life, when I'm faced with balancing my checkbook, or I know I've got a bill coming up, I've got taxes coming up, and in my consciousness, I don't see the funds, don't know where they're going to come from. And I have some other, inputs on ways to deal with that. But I wondered, from your perspective, is there an energetic way to deal with that kind of situation?
There is. It's I in my abundance program, I always put a smiling face to remind my students that even when we are paying bills, which most people see that as something negative, money is leaving my bank account, I have less now, right? Focus on what the person did for you. Focus on your heart's feeling of appreciation, because oftentimes we forget, like, why is the plumber charging so much, right? So focus on how that person, the difference, the positive impact the person made in your life, because I'm not able to fix my plumbing problem and he came to rescue me. I'm happy to pay him and put a smiling face on the check and say, thank you so much. Not just like, I pay you already. Why should I be thanking you? Put a smiling face. That will make his day and make your day too. Because whenever we feel love and appreciation and gratitude, all the wonderful feelings, it comes from the heart. We are the one who benefit from it the first, before it reaches the other person. And when the person receives the check, it sends you automatically, without knowing. Even the person is not a spiritual person, say, wow, this person is so sweet. This lady is, not only paying me on time, but thank me and put a smiling face. It just made my day, right? So, of course, you simultaneously build a stronger relationship with that plumber. So next time when you call, he comes happily, sometimes may even charge you less because he's so happy. Now, but that's not our intention. Our intention is truly appreciate what the person did for you, like pay the PG&E. Instead of saying, damn, PG&E, why is it so high? Why is it going up again? Say, well, thank God for PG&E or for whatever utility company. Without you, I would be in dark. I wouldn't be able to do anything, like the power is out, which we have experienced recently because of the storm. Just feel that appreciation. Go back one step instead of, oh my God, today is my bad day because I'm designating the day to pay bills, right? So even with the IRS, who loves the IRS? No one, right? I have one client who actually, she was a very spiritual person. I said, do you want to do tax planning so you can stop, because she's very wealthy, she's going to be taxed like huge when she dies, right? She goes, actually, I'm very grateful to the U.S. government. She's an immigrant, right? She said, I have had a very good life. I have so much abundance here. I'm happy to pay whatever taxes that, they are entitled to take. I go, okay, I keep my silence there. I don't need to give you my strategies. That's only one person. 99% of people cry when they write this, especially when their tax bill is so huge, right? And I have an older client who's in her 90s now. She said, Cathy, I cry 4 times a year. Every quarter, she has to pay estimate taxes, right? And it's a huge amount. I said, well, what a good problem to have. Of course, we have strategies to minimize it without getting into trouble, but there are a lot of strategies. But instead of crying, think of what the tax dollars are going to. Okay, so we have schools, we have, the Defense Department, and again, this is not a time to think of what the wrong things the government is doing. I understand that we don't always agree with how the government agencies are utilizing taxpayers' money, but this is the time to focus on what we are doing to support the society, the police department, a lot of things. It doesn't hurt to go Google what the tax revenues are utilized in different things that we take for granted, like the road. The road could have a hole that we might fall into and lose our life without being fixed, right? That's part of the tax money. So just focus on the good feeling and focus on what we can control, right? We can control how we feel, right? But we can't control necessarily how the other person does things, right? Like how the Internal Revenue Service it is allocating the money. So sometimes it can be frustrating, but we have right to vote for certain things, to change things. Luckily in this country, not in some countries, people have no rights. We have right to gradually change things and focus on that fortunate right. Because after a while, even as immigrants, we get used to how things are supposed to be. We have right to this. We have right to. We forget in certain countries, which I'm not going to name, people have no right. The government decides, whether you live or die. Not to mention whether they are going to fix the road or do anything else that's good for people, right? So appreciate every little thing, that we tend to forget.
Beautiful. Yeah, thank you. That is the power of gratitude.
Yes.
And gratitude energetically is the expression of energy resonance. So if you resonate with something, of course, you're going to be grateful for having that in your life. And the more you focus on that, the more you actually experience that exact thing. So in a sense, we can consciously experience more of that, which we resonate with, which obviously leads to a greater sense of quality of life improvement or thriving. Well, that's my secret formula for thriving. Does it make sense? Yeah. Efra, did you get answer to your question?
Yes. I also kind of wondered if there was some esoteric principle where if you don't see something, that with some shift of consciousness or Qigong work, it appears.
It's a magic trick.
Not a trick. but a use of a principle. And it's okay if you don't want to take more time on this, because that was a beautiful answer, and it does work. So I'm not sure even that if that's.
So there is actually, I'd be happy to speak on that. I'm sure you have heard of the law of attraction, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it was a huge hit. The movie The Secret was a huge hit. People were so excited about it, especially people who are doing actively, consciously doing spiritual practices, especially those people, and it worked for them instantly. It brings results, right? But the majority of people say, "Wait a minute, I tried, it didn't work." I think of I put my divine order. I want a car tomorrow, and the car didn't come, right? so that's because the movie never disclosed, probably didn't want to disclose. I don't know the reason, but there are things we need to address in 3 planes. So the first plane is physical. You need to do things. You need to go to the car dealership, first have the money and go to the dealership to buy the car, right? So it's not going to just fly to your driveway, right? And but more important, that's only a tiny small. That's more of the result, the end result. So I'm no dummy. I know it will not have enough money. I can buy whatever I want, right? So that's the result, which we often focus too much on, because you can't. If you want a lemon from an apple tree, it's not going to happen. You have to change what's invisible. You change the seed, you plant a different thing. So in a few years, you get lemons instead of apple, right? But we focus a lot on the visible end result, the effect. We should focus on the cause. So the other 2 planes are, one is energetic. Watch our thoughts, our words, our behaviors, and our emotions, because they all generate results. They are. You can say, "Wait a minute, I feel this way because this happened to me." It's not necessarily true. Oftentimes we have a thought. They go, I knew it. I knew this was going to happen. It happened, and we feel like, am I so smart, right? But your thought can, it's an energy wave, right? You send out the waves, and eventually it happens, right? So sometimes it's very quick, sometimes takes time, and that happens when we worry too much. When we worry, it's always something negative. We worry about our children getting sick, right? We worry about our pig is going to get a cut. It's always something negative. We worry that we might be getting into an accident, but it doesn't mean we shouldn't be cautious on the road, right? But we stay positive, like we have this anti-war, right? So anti-war, pro-peace, seemingly, you can say, isn't that the same thing? It's not. Energetically, it's 2 different things. I don't know if you have heard, Mother Teresa once was invited to an anti-war protest. She rejected. She said, "I'm not going. I will go when you invite me to a pro-peace event." Right? So energetically, it's very, very different. And then the 3rd plane is spiritual. Earlier, I mentioned that I was in a deep meditation, asking for divine guidance, whether I should stick to my, day job as a already very successful financial planner and CPA, and do my Qigong just quietly, and helping a few people who already, know me, right? Without being out there. Because, deep down, I'm like a very shy introvert person. I really don't like to be in the public eye. I don't like to be out there at all. That's just my natural personality. I don't go after fame. I don't go after more money. I'm very happy. My life was perfectly happy, and a lot of friends admire, but why did I have to spread the messages about not just Qigong, but, divine love and spiritual practices? It's because of the reason was I, for the first time, saw these divine images, which I personally didn't know who they were at the time. But I knew exactly what they look like. So in my deep meditation, so I said, I have promised, my parents and the rest of my family certain things that I was going to take care of them financially. If I step away from my high level of, workload in my financial work and to do this, to teach, Qigong as a master, I naturally would not be as productive financially, right? Because, you don't charge a lot of money for Qigong work. And so we don't do that for money. We charge a little tuition, but it's nothing compared to what I can do with my financial work. So I was told you will be taken care of by this. At first, it was a loud sound, like you'll be taken care of. I thought, am I imagining it? Like, how am I going to be taken care of? I don't know. I can't think of anything. And then this 6 divine beings came to the picture. Wow. They are in light. That's why I knew they were divine. Wow. So one is in an Indian female form, a goddess. Another in Caucasian form. Another 2 in Caucasian form, like Greek or Roman goddesses, that form. And 3 male in Chinese. They were. I knew them because I, learned that from history. They were actual human beings with real physical bodies, reincarnation on this earth, 2,000 years ago. And after they died, they were, what's the word? Deified. They were, labeled as gods, like gods in charge of abundance. So, but one of them, I didn't know the name. It turned out the name he was given is a different one that I just received that day. But in history, he had a different name. I didn't know at the time. So they were talking to me in unison, like, you do what you do. You go teach people how to bridge the gap between financial abundance and energetic practice, spiritual practice. You are in a perfect position, with the know-how to teach them. And I was like, really? Who are you? I mean, it's a beautiful message, and I wanted to trust it, but I was kind of at the earlier stage of my journey. I was like, I'm a left brain person who has to have proof, like evidence, to be convinced, right? So after that deep meditation, I did go research, asking my Indian friends who this image is. I was describing what she looked like. They go, that's goddess of prosperity. That's Lakshmi. I go, oh, really? Oh, wow. And the other one is Abundancia. It's another goddess of abundance. The third one is Fortuna Cobia. So anyhow, to answer your question, Deborah, yes. So it's important to be connected with them, and they help us. They really help us do what we are put on earth to do, beyond paying bills and enjoying life. I really think we should enjoy life, because you put out a good energy when you're happy. If you are naturally a simple person and you don't need much, then that's fine. But if you have desires that need to be met, don't be ashamed of having those desires. Don't be distracted by them too much. Then you can't focus on your real journey. So I have been helped by those divine beings ever since, and I share them with students, with their pictures and their messages all the time. And what happened to me personally was, yes, I did reduce my workload. I did make less money, but out of surprise, like a total surprise to me, I was guided to invest in certain things that had quickly doubled value, tripled value, quadrupled value quickly, and which has been supporting, it's like generating income for us. So I don't have to worry about it. And at the same time, I share with my clients who needed similar advice. I said, well, do this, do that. And that investment is even outside my general recommendations that I'm licensed to do. In other words, I'm telling my clients to do this without getting paid. So they go, wow, we have this money for you to manage, and you tell us to do something else that you don't get paid. Well, what is wrong with you? I go, but because that's the best thing for you. That's what I care about, and I have been really generously rewarded by the divine universe. So don't think too much about, the like, what am I going to get? When you let it go, it's amazing how you are rewarded in many ways, that more than you can imagine. Yeah.
That's a beautiful answer. Thank you so much.
Oh, you're so welcome. You're so welcome.
Thank you.
Yes.
I have a question about deepening meditation. I was very inspired in how you explained before you're doing, for example, moving meditation, how you go into a deeper state of being. And for example, starting with the feeling of being in gratitude or in love. How is it possible actually to go deeper? Like going deeper with first gratitude, then love, then into the divine being. How to follow the flow into that deeper state of meditation? That is my question. Yes.
Lama, you want to talk about that?
I am happy to talk about meditation. Yeah, one of the easiest things that we can do for meditation enhancement, or to go deeper into it, is first to align physiology with our physical body so that they work together. And one of my favorite ways to do it is to actually practice yawning. So when you yawn, there's a certain point in time when your mind just cannot think. Now, a lot of people who practice meditation are looking for that ability to calm the mind down so that it wouldn't be busy thinking. Well, yawning actually is a natural reset button. You can literally yawn and create that state of clarity from any thoughts, at least for maybe a split second. And then with practice, it becomes easier to spend a little bit more time, maybe just a second or two, in that clear state of consciousness without any thoughts. With more practice, it becomes easier to spend maybe 15, 20, or 30 seconds in that state, and eventually a whole minute, and eventually several minutes. So with practice, it becomes a matter of just simply repeating the yawning meditation or the yawning breathing that triggers that meditative state, and it has a cumulative effect. So that's one of my secrets of basically deepening the meditative state of consciousness to the point that you can literally trigger it like this. It doesn't take me more than just a few seconds to start yawning when I choose to. I also know that when I yawn, there is going to be a certain point of increasing tension in the body when you inhale, but then you're going to release.
You're making us all yawn.
It's very contagious, isn't it? And so, great. You literally increase the tension first on inhalation, and then as you're exhaling, that second part of the yawn actually releases tension, brings it to a lower level than it was before you started yawning. So, great. Basically, you achieve that which a lot of meditators are trying to achieve, and they try to sit for long time, for hours sometimes, trying to get into that relaxed state of clear consciousness. And obviously physical relaxation really helps, because if you're not physically relaxed, well, it means the central nervous system is busy sending signals of contraction to your muscles. Well, how easy it's going to be for the central nervous system that's busy sending signals of contraction to get into a meditative state of consciousness? Very difficult. So we actually make it so that the central nervous system will become more relaxed. Physiology and physical body become more fine-tuned. And then natural meditative practices become available virtually spontaneously. I sometimes refer to it as a spontaneous meditation or a lucid daydreaming meditation. When you are not trying to do something to meditate, you actually just realize, well, you're not going to be in that state of empty mind for too long, maybe just for a few seconds. Well, great. Some daydreams will start happening. Most people, when they even sit for hours trying to meditate, trying is the key word here, because most people are not spending these hours meditating. They're just trying to get into the meditative state, often failing. Well, so what we do is we realize, well, what is happening? Well, they're thinking that they're failing because there are some thoughts happening in their minds, or maybe some memories about the past events, or maybe some ideas about the future. And all of these are daydreams. And so we learn how to recognize them. These are daydreams. I am dreaming. When you just tell yourself you're dreaming, you become lucid, just like in lucid dream at night. When you awaken to the dreamlike reality of what you're experiencing in your dreams at night. And then, of course, you can become really creative because, well, it's your dream. You're the dreamer of the dream and you realize it. Well, the same thing happens in those daydreams that occur in our meditation state. They are also exact same mechanism of dreaming is happening, and we can also become lucid in those dreams and literally practice lucid dreaming even without falling asleep, because daydreams are just like night dreams. The only difference is that we're not asleep when we're daydreaming. And so that creates kind of a continuity of the practice of meditation that we bring into our daily lives, because we're daydreaming in our daily lives all the time too. And as we become more lucid in our daydreams, we can exercise the freedom of choice. For example, any of those anxious thoughts that we were talking about earlier today. Well, by definition, it's thinking about the future. When we think of future, we're daydreaming. If we're awake in these daydreams, we realize, oh, these daydreams they don't have to be so unpleasant. They don't have to turn into a nightmare of a daydream, so to speak. I can actually daydream about something that I would resonate with better. Like we talked about gratitude. It's the energetic experience of resonance with something. So if I focus in my dreams on that which I resonate with, I actually experience a greater sense of gratitude, greater sense of enjoyment. It becomes a much more pleasant experience. And I also may still get creative and see, well, how can I transform this dream or manifest this dream? So talking about the law of attraction. Well, here it is, law of attraction in pure form. As you focus on that which you resonate with, you are much more likely to experience that in your daily life. So basically, that's how we're bridging together the meditation practices, energy practices, and daily life practices in seamless integration. And that's something that obviously we study in the Academy of Qidao, and I'm sure that Cathy teaches some similar things in the Thriving Foundation. So we're here to support that process of discovering how to become more lucid and more awake in our dreams and in this big dream we call daily life. Did it answer your question, Ada?
Yes, it did. So, for example, if I focus on the things I resonate with, I naturally will relax within my system, and there will be less resistance in and therefore I will be more receptive to be in the flow. Right?
Absolutely.
Okay. Well,
for sure.
Yes, thank you very much. Yes.
You're very welcome.
The deepest state is being in alignment with the divine energy. That's the deepest state. And that will help you have a better life and, effortlessly achieve abundance, happiness, and a great health. And it's natural, and it's also don't try too hard. So as you get started with gratitude, appreciation, and love, your vibration, and when you do the practice naturally, your vibration will rise without so much mental guidance.
Absolutely. Yes. Thank you, Cathy. Mm-hmm. Wonderful. I think we covered a lot of ground today. I want to thank you so much, Cathy, for sharing what you do. And right here, next to the name, there is also the website address. So if anyone wants to connect with Cathy and explore more deeply what she does, please check out the thrivingfoundation.org.
Thank you.
Right, Cathy?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Fantastic. Well, do you want to wrap up our exploration with some thoughts, words of wisdom?
Words of wisdom.
Words of wisdom.
Well,
no pressure.
One thing I have encountered with my student, one challenge is no time. It's easy to say you do this every day, but oftentimes when we have unexpected events, we naturally go without doing the practice. So what I want to encourage you all to do is to break it up into small pieces. You can say, for example, so all day long, whenever you have a few minutes alone without, interruption by people, you can do one thing or two things. So one that really helps you to enhance your qi. So you have a good day. You always have a good day. People to be around you. You accomplish what you are supposed to accomplish. So break it up into small pieces if you have to. But make sure, I know in my practice, most practices need to have an opening and closing. So the qi doesn't flow randomly through you. So close it quickly before you move on to back to your busy life. Just remember, it doesn't have to be 30 minutes or hour if you don't have it, but don't use that as an excuse not to practice. Just do a quick practice. For example, if you are you just reach some place via airplane, naturally you're not grounded. No matter how grounded you usually are, you are going to feel physically and mentally ungrounded. And when you are meeting with someone and you're not grounded, people wouldn't appreciate your energy. Whatever you are saying, they don't get it, right? So what you do is you do a quick tap on your stomach and spleen meridian channel. You tap here, like right here on your cheekbones, right? You tap and you're grounded. Okay, if someone who knows energy work, they can easily wave something against your energy channel, meridian channel, you become ungrounded again. And you may fall down, you may just not be smooth. You weird things, accidents will happen to you. So make sure you are constantly grounded before you you move on, like right after you landed on at the airport, ground yourself. So another thing is, ladies especially, we often carry a handbag. Doesn't matter which shoulder. it's better to do it across the shoulder instead of on one side, because we are unbalanced without knowing it. Again, when we are not balanced, people don't receive our energy pleasantly. They go, I go, this person is strange. I don't like her. I don't like it, but without knowing why. Just because you're not balanced. And that unbalance is not limited to a physicality. It's like you're overall not balanced. So when you go talk about, present something, teach something, or share something, people go, I don't want to hear, listen. And their eyes are wandering away. You don't get their attention. So simply do this. Put your hands on the shoulder and do a cross to your hip. Do it just 3-4 times on each side. And do the other side. And then you're balanced. So this is actually quite important. And you can also, hit your knee with the opposite hand. You can touch the, key acupuncture points on the below the knee, which is very important for your health. So little things we can do. So don't make it this, huge task every day. And then a lot of people, even if they paid a tuition to learn something, they don't practice and it's gone, and you feel guilty, you feel ashamed, all these unhealthy feelings are, coming up again. So do a little bit at a time. So that, in time, you throughout the day, you cover it all. It's not that hard. So make it easy, incorporate into your life instead of setting aside a big chunk of time, which very few people can do nowadays with so many things going on. Sometimes they are not necessary, sometimes they are distractions, but doesn't matter. So I always tell people, Qigong is a way of life. It's not an exercise. It's really much, much more than any exercise, right? It's a way of life. It starts with, how you breathe. You can breathe naturally, or for some problems, you can have a conscious way of breathing to conquer that problem, such as the lungs, or when you have certain health issues, you can breathe differently other than naturally. So starting with breathing and also go all the way with your mental connection with the divine, rather than just be a problem solver, and end up not solving any problem, right? Like when you carry a bag, how do you carry it? You just grab it with your hands, right? But if you know you have a health challenge, for example, if you have a bladder control issue, which a lot of people do, surprisingly, especially after you reach certain age, especially among women. So bladder control could be an issue. And what do is, instead of doing a practice, you simply carry your bag on your pinky finger, assuming it's not too heavy to break your pinky finger, just the right, weight, right? You carry, like I carry my water bottle this way, doesn't hurt to strengthen your bladder, even if you're healthy, right? We don't want to wait until we are unhealthy, we have a healthy issue, then we look for a solution. So carry the bag, ideally balanced. So you don't carry just one and you wound up like your shoulder this way, you carry two things at the same time of similar weight, and then, you're done. And, you can massage on the back of the knee cap, that acupuncture point helps you with, again, the bladder meridian channel. You can have a very, strong bladder, can hold a lot of water if you have to. If you are in a place where there's no bathroom, like when you go to Europe, I found that challenging to find public bathroom easily. If you can hold longer than normal, that helps, right? Yeah.
Well, thank you for
the message
sharing
is
that,
incorporating Qigong into your daily life by breaking them into small parts and pieces.
Absolutely, yes. I'm going to be going to Europe later this year, so definitely we'll have to put that to good use.
Yes.
Fantastic. Well, I want to thank you so much for spending all this time with us, Cathy. It's been wonderful to see you. And I will look forward to seeing you more. We will be having the World Tai Chi and Qigong Summit that will be dedicated to the topic of abundance through being in a flow.
Yes.
So if we covered this topic today to some extent, we're going to cover it to even greater extent on World Tai Chi and Qigong Day, which will be April 27th this year.
Yeah. Saturday.
The last Saturday.
Saturday of April. It's easier to remember, right?
Absolutely. Well, thank you everyone for being here today. Thank you, Cathy, once again. It's been lovely to see you.
Thank you, Lama, for having me. Thank you, everyone.